What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Smart Marketer podcast. We are here with part 2 of our creative talk with the one and only Bennett, creative director here at Smart Marketer. If you haven't already, please listen to last week's episode. So that is part 1, higher level conversation between Ben and I of where we are in 2025 when it comes to paid creative. And in this episode, we are going to get more tactical in terms of the process that we are currently using to get all of this shit done.
Yeah.
Ben, no pressure. We know this is always changing.
Love it.
But this is actually the biggest question that we get nowadays when it comes to creative. Mm-hmm. It used to be, Molly, what is the highest converting creative formula? What are the highest converting ads that you have right now?
Right.
That is still important. That's always part of the conversation. But the most frequently asked question, surprisingly, we are getting right now when it comes to paid creative, as we acknowledged in the last episode, we know we need more volume. How the heck do I get that done? What is the process around it? What does it look like when it comes to optimization? And that's really what we want to dive into during this episode.
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's the one going around right now. So I'm glad that we get a chance to talk about it. Yeah, and again, we're figuring it out, but I'd love to walk you through how we get this done.
Let's do it. Yeah. And I also want to acknowledge someone on your team, Melvin, that I think is super underrated, and most people do not have their addition to this team, this type of role on their team.
Preach.
Will you share a little bit about what Melvin does? Because I think that is just so key now in success.
Yeah, preach. Melvin is the best. He's just a phenomenal guy, first of all. And second of all, he's a people person.
Yes.
And there needs to be a people person who is awesome with people in general, can deal with like tough situations or maybe tough people, and somebody who's super detail oriented. And what he does is...
what's his title?
Yeah, so he's the creative operations manager.
Okay, perfect.
So his job is to go out and find talent, so UGC creators, creators in general, to agree to our terms and conditions and to agree to work with us, and then to also get good finished products from them, right? So somebody writes the brief, doesn't automatically guarantee that you're going to get an amazing return from the videos.
Usually
doesn't. That's the question that I get asked the most is, we have these great questions about, we have these great briefs, and then we send them off and we can't get anything back that's good. That's the number one question that people ask me. And I get it, because we have one person who's phenomenal at what they do and honestly has too much responsibility right now because of the landscape and what's changing. That is his whole thing. He will meet with creators one-on-one. He will read the brief for them and shoot a Loom video and tell them exactly what to do, so that we're just kind of ensuring that the creator gets the best picture of the ad, understands it the best, so that they can create something good. You need that position in your creative process, whether that is you or whether that's another position.
And internally, as we increase the volume of creatives produced, he is keeping all of that in line.
Absolutely.
So from more of a project management standpoint, but it's not just project management,
No.
It is marketing layered over. Yes, working externally, but also working internally to make sure all of this actually happens. So I do not see this position on most creative teams, and this is a huge problem for most brands. And before we dove into the process, I just wanted to point out,
huge.
I think that is a linchpin in most companies, and a creative ops manager that's working on the outside and the inside.
Yeah.
Like, none of this would happen without Melvin being the squeaky wheel. So,
that is
and it's
so
not
true.
Just hiring a project manager. That is not going to solve it. This is a marketer meets operational mind.
Yeah, it's crazy. We were talking about in the previous episode how your investment in your creative team is just going to have to go up. And it's going to have to be people that have those chops, that have the creative marketing knowledge to know how to instruct UGC creators, what comes back from designers, and the designers themselves should have a creative eye, right? It kind of goes top down. So
absolutely.
That's a great call out.
Now let's dive into this process. So we're working with a client.
Yes.
Every month we produce a new round of creatives. Mm-hmm. What the heck does that look like then, Bennett?
Yeah, so it starts the same way that everything starts.
And it will probably change before this episode comes out.
Yeah, so just if you're not listening to this on the day it drops, check our Twitter accounts for an updated version, But it starts the way that it has always started, which is the deep research. We use different tools now. We use a lot of AI to do and help us do that research quickly. But it starts with the avatar research. It starts with the hook research. It starts with digging into the ad account. That's the first thing that if you don't have that done really well, skip the rest of the steps.
And people are rolling their eyes, marketing 101.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't emphasize this enough, especially with Meta's recent updates. We need to just go ahead and put a few exclamation point on this.
Yes.
This is more important than it has ever been. It's more important than it has ever been. Mm-hmm. If you are not doing this deep psychological avatar research, you are giving Meta a bunch of creatives with different background colors like we talked about. That is not helpful. That is not context that Meta needs to go out and show your ads to the right people. Just want to put just a few more explanation points on that.
Kind of the whole theme to this talk is I think about it like a prism. Like you have light that goes into a prism and it multiplies. It goes into a bunch of different rays and a bunch of different colors. Like if the light that's going in there isn't good, it isn't strong enough, it isn't the right color, you're going to multiply. And now think of AI as the prism that's going to multiply. You're going to multiply bad. You're not going to multiply for the sake of multiplication. It's just going to be bad. So the input has to be great first, and that's the first step of the process.
And what does that look like? Mm-hmm. I mean, I know we only have so much time here, but just any brief touch points on the research?
I look and give the most stock into customer reviews. So if you have a ton of reviews, that's not news to you to like look at those things, but those will tell you really where people are, who's doing it, what parts of the experience and like using your offer, what do they mention, what problems do they mention in the reviews that they bought it to or they took you up on your offer to overcome. And what do they mention feeling afterwards? Like get it kind of from the horse's mouth when you can in terms of customer reviews. And then, we look into things like competitors and what other people are saying. But that's kind of like, if you could substitute this by sitting someone down who is a regular user and just talking to them, that's what this basically is.
And a few things on this, Ben. So other than the use of AI, we can link some episodes where you and I have chatted about this for the last few years, right? In the show notes.
Yeah.
This step really hasn't changed with the new Meta updates. This is stuff that, again, has been around for hundreds, thousands of years. A lot of this is psychology. Number two, who is doing this? This is either you as the creative director and or a creative strategist, right?
I think this is where people typically fit it into the creative strategist.
Yes.
This is the part A of their responsibility. So another huge question we get is, how do we hire a creative strategist? Like, what do we look for in that person? I think this is the biggest thing that you look for is, do they understand people? Do they understand avatars? And do they understand, hooks?
When we are interviewing someone for this role, how do you test them?
It's really hard. You basically, and this is, I don't love this. I don't love people asking people to do work for an interview process, but how can you tell if they can do it if you don't ask for it in advance? So what we do is basically ask really open-ended questions, something like, what is your creative philosophy? What do you see in a good ad? When you're looking at an ad, what are the sections you think are most important? And then we give a small, don't ask somebody to create a huge campaign for you, a small brief to say, hey, this is the company. What would the first thing you do be?
And we give them, it's actually one of our clients.
It's one of our clients. Yeah, absolutely. So we just hired a new creative strategist that's amazing. His name's Julio. And
shout out to Julio.
Yeah, baby. Shout out Julio. And he is just like going through and using that ad that he made. So he already got one checked out the list,
Well, and why that is beneficial, giving them a project around one of our companies or a client is also we want to hire people that think a bit differently than us.
Yeah.
So if someone comes up with an idea that's the same idea that we've already tested, it's like, that doesn't make that person wrong. That just might not be the best fit for our team. But you look at a project submission and it's like, wow, Bennett, Molly Pittman, we wouldn't have thought of that. That is the person that I want to hire.
Yeah.
And I also want to shout out, we will link this in the show notes at smartmarketer.com. Click on the podcast. We are hiring creative strategists and other positions from our friend Alexander's talent agency. I've never had a lot of success with recruiters. It's usually really expensive.
Yeah.
They usually don't work out. Y'all, we are getting amazing creative strategists, amazing designers. We'll talk about Mars, who we brought onto the team this year, also came through Alexander's agency. I cannot recommend him enough. He has owned e-commerce businesses. He's been on Shark Tank. So he gets...
I didn't know that. That's cool.
He gets the world that we live in. And now this is one of the ways that he is servicing the community, is helping with talent. And that has helped so much because we've gone from Ben going through hundreds of applicants and all of that manual work to, okay, guys, based off of what you said that you wanted, here are 2 candidates. And then Ben can really look for, pick the best fit if there is one. So shout out to Alexander. It's called Talent Agency with no A. It's a weird URL, so we'll link it in the show notes, but just wanted to shout him out.
Yeah, they did a great job, and it took a long time because this person is really hard to find. Somebody that does know the technical side, but more importantly, can think outside of the box with any situation, any client. So
okay, so process step 1, deep research. We will link other episodes where you and I have talked about this in great depth. Right. That really hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't changed. So step 2. How do you develop the little prism? How do you develop the multiplier?
Which is really what we're trying to do.
Absolutely.
How do we take this in-depth marketing psychology that we are so good at, but now multiply the volume without being lame?
Without breaking it. Absolutely. So the prism, the multiplier. Now,
I like this analogy, by the way. This might need to be a whole video training.
You could do it. You could do an ad with this, like the Pink Floyd rainbow coming out of the back.
Bennett's creative prism.
Yeah, dark side of the creatives. So shout out Pink Floyd fans out there. So this prism, what it is made of really is hooks and styles. So I start at the top, like we said, with the hook. So this actually kind of makes our job easier because whereas in the past we got creative volume with a lot of different hooks, now we kind of don't. We use a hook that we're super certain about and then make a bunch of variations, a bunch of different diverse creatives out of it. So that first part has actually gotten a little easier as it comes and as it has developed. So the prism. After we've got our hook, we've decided this is the angle that I want to take, and this is how, the overall heart of the message. Now I'm going to, evaluate the brand, evaluate the offer, and say like, okay, what is the most valuable type of content that I can get? And by valuable, I mean the most effective in and of itself that relates to the avatar. It's something that they see on their social media feed anyway. And valuable in terms of this can be multiplied into a bunch of different styles, a bunch of different variations. A lot of times that ends up being UGC. So that's kind of the thing that I check off the box first, where I say, okay, just time-wise too. I know that, clock has started. We've signed a client. Like, let's get it rolling. Let's get the UGC started because that takes the most time.
Yes.
It's the most resource intensive and it takes the most time. So let's get that box checked first. So we start working with UGC creators. And so whereas in the past, working with a creator might have gotten us 4 videos, those being a body section that doesn't really change that much and 4 different hooks, hooks as in the first 3, 5, 10 seconds, that would have gotten us 4 variations, right? To address this problem of needing more volume, we've had to come up with different filters, visual filters, by which that UGC content can come to life. So this comes to life in the form of graphic videos. So AI has given us the ability to animate in really a crazy way that we would have had to take forever with, and with, you know, really talented, expensive graphic, you know, like animators more so than graphic designers.
Yeah.
We can take a UGC video, get those original 4 variations out of it. So boom, we've got 4 that we're pretty certain about. Now that can be 8 if we can come up with different animations to go over at least the first 10 seconds of that video. So that's basically another angle that light that goes into the prism can refract. Okay, now we've got 2. Now, okay, we've got another style. We want to cover it with B-roll instead of somebody face the camera. So we ask that creator to create more B-roll so that we can take it and use it at the beginning at least of the video. So now you've got 12, right? That's kind of how it works, is we have different filters. I mean, they really are just filters. It's, you get the heart of the content and it's filtered through a different way.
Wow.
And then it becomes a different piece of content because you have shown it in a different way. And that helps us because, like you said, it's not that we need 12 different hooks, because then you're gonna quality is just gonna, it's a curve, right? Like you can only get so many good hooks before that next one starts tanking.
Yes.
And when you get to 100, the quality is going to be awful. We've assured the quality of the hook at least is going to be really good because it never changes. It's the same one.
Wow.
So
So you are ensuring the hit rate, the success rate of the creatives every month by not creating much variation in the hook. Maybe the next month the hook will change.
Yes,
right?
you still need to try new
and we'll
things.
get there. But going with a message that works, but changing the people, the look, the feel, all of the style, the presentation.
Yes.
So, okay, so what does that look like internally with our team?
Yeah, absolutely. It means that the next step of this whole kind of process is there needs to be a part of the process that's owned by somebody that is those visual styles, or that is different ways to filter that initial content. And for us, another awesome talent agency, shout out Alexander again, hire that we made was our art director, Mars Cortez. And she is phenomenal. Like, she has the best creative mind in terms of design visually. She's awesome and good at hooks too. So we just kind of use her for that sometimes too. So
she gets the big picture.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So she helps us. What she will do is she will, before we ever make any creative, she'll make us basically a style guide that includes multiple different filters, multiple different styles, to where I can just take those with the hooks I've developed. They're plug and play. I just take it, show it to a designer, and now that's a filter through which they're seeing the hook and the creative come to life. And then, you know, my idea here, Mars's filter in the middle, boom, that's a different creative. Wow. And you can multiply it by another exponent, right? So instead of 12, maybe now you've got 24 because you tried the first in one style and the second in another. So there you got 24, right?
Wow. So we are getting a higher volume of creative to feed this machine, but doing it in a way less risky way than we would have before, while also not doing what most people are doing, which is changing small variations of things like the background color that simply don't matter.
Yeah.
What are the styles that Mars is setting in place that are most likely to convert for us right now?
It's a great question. So again, shout out to Mars. This is her system. She has basically come up with 3 different kind of labels for the directions that she takes: snack, impact, and tailored, which I really like. I like, you know, as smart marketer, we love naming things. So the first one is snack. So this is what you typically think of when you think of a graphic, like it is digestible, hence snack, right? And it's immediately all in one picture. It's usually simple. It's a graphic. It's a quick hitter. That is the stuff that we're mostly used to, right? Yeah. So that is not just for images, it works for graphic videos as well. So something like super text heavy that takes no energy to understand. It's usually like top of funnel, like an educational something, like just like, did you know? Da, da, da. So drop it in there.
Quick.
It's just a quick hitter.
Yeah.
And that's number one. The second is impact. So this is something more emotional. And again, another reason why I like these are because it's not just like arbitrary styles. It's a different part of the brain, right? It's human.
Wow.
It's human psychology that we're just like transferring into styles.
Where
right?
snack is usually more logical, quick.
Yes.
Get in front of someone.
Data.
Now we're moving to the emotional side of the brain.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just genius the way she set it up. And so impact will be high contrast. Emotional imagery, so usually something with people or animals, like something that invokes emotion and that brings the hook through in a more personal, dramatic way. And so that is something that I gravitate towards as like an emotional thinker, right? Like that's like a style that I would have used in the past. Now it's like, I can create snack content with that stuff too. So that's great. The last one is tailored content. So this is where AI has really stepped in and helped us because we can create things like, you have a crazy ad idea like I'm sure you do all the time. And you want to think of, for example, like, say we're that construction company again. It's like we want to have like 18 houses on a silver platter with a waiter that's walking through because like, we make it that easy and we give you this kind of service.
Yeah.
You can do that now. You can do that with AI. So tailored is an instance in which we're creating something from scratch that is 100% an analogy or a visual of what we're going for, and not just like a representation. Does that make sense?
Give me an example of it.
Of a tailored ad. So for instance, thinking about give me a brand to work with or.
Well, smart marketer.
Okay, so smart marketer. So imagine a marketer is sitting there, like trying to decide between a bunch of different hooks, and they can't decide. Like that's a situation I find myself in a lot.
This is so meta, by the way.
Yeah, no, totally. Like we're on the this is Inception. But you're sitting at a computer, just like sitting there, and then there's like hooks that are just like fishing hooks that are just like hanging all over your laptop, and like you can't, and like maybe one's like pulling up your shirt or something like that. Like those are the type of things that we can now create that are so specific to where in the past, like we could have done that, but it would have taken forever.
I'm with you.
But now it's like we have AI to where we can show a super literal situation or a situation that we would never have access to. Like we had a client in the past that was we're like early education and children. We can't go into a classroom and start taking pictures of kids that are sad, right? Like that's a horrible thing, and weird. You shouldn't. Yeah, you shouldn't do that. With AI, we can. Like we can get an image of that child that looks emotionally, and we can do it in whatever format. That's like a tailored something to where the situation is super intentional.
Wow. So in every month of production, after the research, the hook, then are we using all three of these styles every single time?
Yeah, honestly, we tailor it to the client. Like sometimes a hook doesn't make sense for any of them, but it does lead you to think, I kind of want to choose hooks that do work with all of them, so that we can get to that number, right?
Sure, like reverse engineering it.
Mm-hmm,
okay,
absolutely.
so you are the creative strategist who's doing the deep research, setting the hook or the hooks.
Mm-hmm.
Then working with Melvin and Mars to get the right people, the right content, also to get the most up-to-date style that's working on these platforms. Then what happens? Then
the rubber meets the road. Then they have to actually get produced. It's great to have a lot of ideas, but they actually do have to get done.
And that is still harder than people would like to expect. And that is a hustle.
It is, and it is something that
brings you the most stress.
Absolutely. No, it is. It is the hardest part of the problem or of this whole equation. You can have as many ideas as you want. The ideas can scale exponentially when you start introducing styles where you say like, hey, instead of one variation 4, we've got 24 now because we use different filters, different prisms to expand it. Those do one by one increase the production. Like those don't get easier. Like it just because you thought of it easier, that's the same load on a designer.
And even with AI, it doesn't mean there isn't a lot of manual work that's going into this.
AI is weirdly really manual. It is very, very manual. Like you have to input a ton of manual effort to get it to where you want it to be. Yes. And that's something I consider when I'm logging creatives. Is that...
What do you mean by logging?
Yeah, great question. So when I'm going through and I say, hey, I have an idea, it's ready to actually be produced, I'm, briefed it out, the brief exists, I'm going into our project management software and assigning it to a designer. But when I do that, when I put it into our production system and give somebody the task, I'm considering that something with AI is probably going to take them a lot of time. It's going to be actually a more intensive time investment than if they get the UGC content from a UGC creator. It's just where are you spending the time? Like where does the time come from?
How many designers, editors do we have now? 4?
5. So yeah.
Yeah, and how does that work, Ben? So we use ClickUp as our project management system. All of this is logged and tagged and organized. How do you decide which editor gets which brief? Do we have specialties? Does everyone kind of do the same thing? How does that go down?
It's a big question that we're thinking about a lot right now. Honestly, Melvin and Mars and I are thinking about this. People have strengths and weaknesses, and designers are no different. Again, talking to a previous episode where people just kind of assume designers do everything and that they're all the same.
Not true.
It's so not true, right? Like you have to find out from your designers what styles they're the best at. So we do a lot of that where we're saying, hey, I know my team so well that I have that animation that Mello, for example, did for one of our other clients. It'd be great if we had one for this client. Yes. So I'll go to him directly.
I was surprised to see how much of them end up they're good at a lot of things, but they end up being really good at one or two things. Yeah. And you start to see the hit rate of which ads perform on the platform. Then it's like, okay, Mello is our, more snack UGC video animation. Like I can give that guy a 30-minute testimonial video with no brief and ask him for a short 30-second ad. And he pulls out literally the best parts of that testimonial and squishes it together. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important for people to understand, whether this is an internal team, whether you're outsourcing to freelancers, whether you're using a platform like Constant Creative, it doesn't matter, but it's very rare to find one designer, whatever you want to call them, that is going to be proficient at all of the styles that we're discussing.
Yeah.
I also love your point about AI. We are still using it because we know it will get easier. We know the time invested will be less in a year. Yeah. We also know that we're saving time on the actual gathering of the content, but it's still, that time still has to be invested. I just want to point that out. Yes. So many people come to us, even huge businesses, and they're like, we just want to use AI for ads. Like, why can't we make all of these in 30 seconds? And I just don't think we're there yet.
No, I don't think we're there yet. I'll never say that we won't, but man, it is something that I want to preach to people, that when we're talking about you need 100 creatives per whatever, that is never going to be, or at least not now. I mean, who knows what'll happen in the future, but at least right now, it's not fix this about your creative process that will then get you to 100 ads. You have to fix stuff, but you also just have to put so much more energy into it. It is going to require more energy, and don't think that AI is going to make that not true.
There is no easy button here.
There's no easy button. It is just a lot of work.
Okay, so the ads are made. Mm-hmm. The ads are launched. I know this looks different for every client, but what does the back end look like in terms of, okay, a new month is coming up, a new round, maybe it's not a new month for listeners, whatever your cadence is, but Ads were launched, some worked, some didn't. Now, how do you decide what we do next in the next round?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're looking at the results like we always have, right? Like it's always media buying. Like I'm going in there and I'm seeing things to the performance as to like what did it sell, what's the ROAS, what's the spend, but then also like specific things like drop off rates and hook and hold rates and things like that. And that kind of informs where we go next, like not a shocker. But the part of this that has changed and that has actually, I think, become a little easier is that whereas in the past we were saying, hey, here's 10 hooks, you're introducing a lot of variables there when you go into 10 hooks.
Yeah, it's harder to know what the hell to do next.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you have 10 hooks with maybe, 3 to 4 different ads, it could be the creator that didn't work out that time. And so you just X out that hook and you lose it, which could have been great. Now it's less so because, if you create 30 creatives around a single hook, you're going to have pretty solid data as to whether or not that hook performs, which again is the most important part. So you're going to find out like, hey, this hook works. You kind of eliminated that variable. And then you're looking at the second one, which is in which styles. Okay. So overall, boom, I know this hook, it has at least some sort of potential. Where in this like tree of branching off, what styles ended up performing? Okay, this style ended up working. Great, multiply it. Do way more of it, and then say like, oh, that style works. Move it to hook number 2. Expand there.
You know what's funny, Ben, about this is where we are now. I mean, I don't think there's ever a true test on Meta in terms of just how the platform is set up. But what you're describing is where we are in this new age, but it is also so old school. Like what you are trying to do is yes, get volume, but also get us the truest test possible.
Yes.
You are like a detective. This is a silly example, but last week, one of my dogs was sick and he had some weird symptoms. JB, my big, Great Dane. So I take him to the vet and she's like, I really don't know what's wrong with him or how to fix this. So we're going to go through the process of elimination. So we are going to rule out, we're going to do all these tests, collect all this data. We are going to rule things out until we find what works. That is almost what you're describing here.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Which gives me peace because
yes,
it's actually not that different, but it still gives us the volume that we need to succeed. I want to go into the project management side of this, even outside of Melvin, in terms of ClickUp. I know this is a tool that you love. We use it company-wide. Can you just give a high-level overview of how we use it and any tips for people out there? Because again, part of this volume game is, oh my gosh, I'm testing so much, I don't even know what the heck is going on. The organization of this is becoming more important than it ever has. So specific to the tool, is there anything, I know you nerd out on this.
Yeah, so, I love ClickUp.
Yeah.
It has saved us because like you said, we've got so many floating around, you have to know where they are. I think that the big picture is you have to have visibility at a top level as to where things are in production, because again, like it's just like, think about like manufacturing. If you're manufacturing anything, whether cars, like you scale your factory to 50 times what it was doing before, things are gonna break in between, and like things are gonna like quality. You're gonna have to introduce new quality checks that you've had, and ClickUp is what really helps us know. At a top level, naming conventions are super important, just as they always been. We have really tight naming conventions as to clients, concept numbers, and all that stuff. So that makes it easier for us.
And really quick on that, what are the most important variables for us to pass through on the naming conventions?
Yeah, that's a good question. If you've set it up how I am talking about, where it's one hook, and you've set up all your tests, like basically testing styles of one hook, it makes it easier, honestly, because then you know that, hey, this big batch and concept number is something we use. So like just chronologically, if I know the ads 310 through 330 or this hook, then it's super easy, right?
And we're passing that through the UTMs into Meta, into a triple whale, third party, whatever they're using. And that is coming back, that data, to you all for the optimization.
Yes.
And that's how all of this is organized in ClickUp.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All that stuff has to make it in there too, because you have to be able to search, this hook or this iteration, this concept, find it anywhere.
And I love that you do that, because then even from a high level strategic standpoint, I could come into one of our clients reporting, and because of the way you have set this up, I can look and say, 70% of their spend this month is on a before and after hook.
Yeah.
That is amazing. We need to reflect that in their entire brand, the rest of their marketing. And Ben, this is a little bit risky. We might now want to start testing other hooks so that we have diversification, or maybe it's other avatars. So I feel like for you guys, it keeps you organized. It keeps the optimization process going. And then for me and anybody that's a founder or, more of a marketing leader, they are able to see the high level with data. Like, it has been, I've really never seen before, actual data around things like a hook or, that's such a big concept. So I just want to point out that benefit for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can take something intangible, that's, shocker, Ben and Molly are talking about the fundamentals of marketing and hooks again. But if you can give it something intangible, if you can give it a name and give it a naming convention and plug it into Facebook, it's that simple. Then you have data on it. Yes. You just have to know what that is first. You have to create a set of rules to go by first. Once you have that, then you can look at it in a report just like you would anything else.
Yeah, and it makes ClickUp so much more than a project management tool. It's also like, okay, this is where this information lives, that also gives you a very big picture look on the business.
Yeah. It does really simplify everything and give you a good picture at a high level.
Are there any other things you guys do in ClickUp that you think are unique, or just the most valuable parts to the team, other than, who's doing what?
I think that having a lot of different people's eyes on it is great. Like, if you have a process that's super clunky, whereas it's like, hey, this is a Google Drive, and like, you're sharing Google Drive files with everyone, and the comments on that aren't great, and there isn't a way to, like, when you resolve a comment, it's gone forever. But if you want a lot of different eyes on it and a lot of different people to contribute, it's great to have everything in one task, because there's a comment section that you can go through, and you can say, like, at this timestamp change XYZ, everything from literally from a script to the final product goes through the same pipeline.
Wow.
So you can see from A to Z exactly kind of what's happened. And it's just a phenomenal, it's a collaborative tool with all the revisions go into one place. And, again, visibility is just so important, because it becomes a bear in and of itself to manage as many things getting done and produced as are now necessary. So it having that high level of visibility is like, you can't really do without it.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Ben, what's next? What sort of problem or opportunity when it comes to paid creative? What's your biggest focus? What's the next thing that we're going to tackle?
Yeah, the next thing for us is the input. So thinking about like what goes into the prism, it's like, okay, we can filter it all we want, but what goes into it is really going to be the new, like, that's what is a huge lever for us to pull. And in thinking about that, UGC and changing the way that we work with UGC creators is the next step for us. It's no secret that TikTok Shop blew up because they finally were the ones to say, like, hey, they should get a piece of this ad that you're spending $1 million on, right? That they made for 200.
Right.
So creators are going to TikTok because they want a piece and they want the right incentive structure to actually do a good job. For us, we haven't figured that out yet. Like, what does that look like? How do the system is too good. The incentive is too good to where we can't just ignore that on Facebook and say, hey, TikTok Shop is crazy. Like, you know, all those young kids running around over there. Like, we have to figure out how to make that work on Facebook. And that's something that I'm thinking about. How do we create a better relationship and incentive structure with the people who are actually coming up with the content, which are the UGC creators.
So building our own content network essentially that we use for our businesses and our clients that are more of an incentive structure that we do see work on TikTok Shop, because that's a service that we offer. So we're building that internally.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a strategy that's too good that we have to use on Facebook too.
Yeah, and I think also tackling, and every agency comes up against this, but like, what is the role of the agency when it comes to creative? What is the role of the client and their team? Yeah. That is something that I think we will never have a perfect answer to, but that's really what I'm focused on. Like, how can we bring what you have built, this amazing system, which is used for our media buying clients, but not to the extent that it is used with people that have the creative service. What does that look like? I think that's going to be really fun to tackle and start to meld your team more with the media buying team.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating question that I've had to do a lot of like personal introspection about, because when I think about what do we offer as Smart Marketer Creative Service, well, our research is the best. Our hook development is the best. When we think about what makes a person emotionally respond, like, we're better than everybody else. But that also means that you usually take a really heavy hand in the script development, in the planning of the ads. And so when a creator gets it, I want to have already said, I've thought of all this, just do it, right? Yes. Like, I've already planned it all, just do it. And so it has forced me to open up a little bit and honestly, relinquish a little bit of pride around it, to say, no matter how we get an awesome video or an awesome image, if the creator had the idea, fantastic. Yes. We have to give more people the driver's seat in terms of to be that hook person, that idea person. More people have to own that part of the process. And no matter where we get the good creative from, take down your ego and allow other people in to get the result that we need. And more volume, shocker, more volume, more people involved. So
yeah, and also, we will always have novelty and unique aspects for every client. And it's also, how do we produce this monthly menu, back to the chef analogy that we used. How can you and our directors of advertising, and even me, how do we produce, here is the menu, everybody. Yes.
Yeah.
This is the menu. These are the styles and maybe even hook ideas that Smart Marketer is focused on this month. Okay, team, now this happens across the board.
Yeah.
It won't be perfect, but I feel like we're going to get there.
Yeah, it's like in building anything else. Like, when you build a company, you do everything, right? Yep. And then you hire somebody to take a part of it, and then you end up removing yourself. It's like the creative thing has just become that level of creation, that business in and of itself, to where it's now we have to start thinking more systematically. But everyone's going to have to do that. Everyone's going to have to get in on that a little bit, because you can't do it all yourself anymore.
Well, and especially if you're an agency, most folks watching this, your brand side, and that's amazing. And you need to figure this out for one company, one team. Great. Follow the process that Ben shared and that we will always continue to share. And then for our agency folks out there, we share your pain.
For sure.
But we are also grateful to have agency as one of our business models, because we get to learn more than if we were just focused on one brand. So, like anything, it's a double-edged sword, but this has been so informative, Ben. And just to wrap things up, what are you most excited about right now when it comes to, the creative space that you live in?
Well, I think people are opening up their minds. I think that, with the demand of creative being higher, people can't get so picky anymore. You know what I'm saying? Where they say you can't. When somebody says, "Hey, I have a great skit idea where two people fight and then one pulls their hair out," whatever it is. In the past, you'd be like, "No, we're not going to waste our scarce resources on it. It's not brand safe." Now it's "Hey, I couldn't possibly turn that down when we need 20 new creatives every, you know what I'm saying? It's more fun now, in a way."
I love that you said that. It's almost that this new focus from platforms like Meta are giving, we've always had it, but giving our clients and even us more permission to actually be creative, which is the thing that
you have to be more creative.
You love to do the most. So I think that is a big takeaway for all of you. And this hasn't changed. It's just more permission to let our minds be creative, come up with those really weird ideas, right?
Absolutely.
That is still what matters. And because creative and you guys are now such in the spotlight, it's fun that that permission and those resources are now given. It's no longer just Ben Bennett rocking over there by himself, you know, trying to come up with as many ideas as possible. So I love that we tied this back to fun and one of our core values. And yeah, thanks for everything you do. We were, you know, on a call yesterday in our mastermind with someone really high up at Meta, and she said, Ben Bennett is the best creative person I have ever had a discussion with. And that is so true. And it's also just such a testament to the way both of us have come up in the game. You know, you were not some crazy creative director that was working at Meta that we poached, right? Yeah. You were someone that had these innate intuitive abilities that we just give resource and support to. And it's just the beginning. And I'm just such a proponent for that model. I don't think not every hire can be that model. You know? I was given that opportunity from intern to where I am now. And I just want to call that out too about your journey. And I think that not enough people do that, right? Hire people based off of skills they see, but knowing that it's going to be a journey, and we're just getting started on that. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, first of all. And I really appreciate that. And I think that's true. The weakness that I have in this game is the technical stuff. It is the coming up with the volume. It's meeting production demands, all of that type of stuff. That is honestly the hardest part. But like you said, having the spotlight and having people now care a lot about creative has been really, really cool.
Yeah. And that's easy to fix, right?
Totally.
With people like Melvin, with tools like ClickUp, there are people's brains that are literally built for the operations side. It is so hard to find a creative brain that thinks like you do. And even a lot of big creative directors out there, they don't think of it in a performance standpoint and being able to do this for so many clients at one time. So someone like Ben is a really hard person to find. It's very much a unicorn. You can hire someone that has experience, but there is also this opportunity to find, you know, and just be open to your path crossing, you know, someone like Ben, and giving them the time and the resource to really work their way up in the company. And that's a model that we use in a lot of roles. So
I'm super grateful for it. Yeah. And grateful to you for the chance, you know.
Well, likewise, Ben, and we will be at Smart Marketer Live soon. You'll be doing a session all about creative. This episode will probably come out after that. But we will definitely do a follow-up here on the podcast in the next month or two. Because as we said, this will change. The fundamentals will never change, but how we get to the volume, how we do the back-end optimization, I know that's changing every single day, and it's our job to show up and keep you guys informed on that. So thank you, Ben. Thank you, Smart Marketer community, as always, for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review wherever it is that you are listening or watching, and we will see you on the next episode. Bye, y'all.
Peace out.
Sweet. That was really good.
Well done. Yeah, that's fun. That was a great conversation.